Question then. Why is access to parental leave, particularly for fathers, still so limited across Africa? Mark Dupree is the head of legal and compliance at Africa HR Solutions in Mauritius. They've recently released a report on parental leave across all 54 countries. And I began by asking him, what is parental leave like in Mauritius today?
So in Mauritius, we always had the established maternity leave side of parental leave. Recently, the paternity side of things has been increased, and it's now, I would say, probably the most number of days, if you want to call it that, across the African region. We are now looking at 4 weeks, still short of what it is on the maternity side of things. It's up to 14 weeks, really, but a good step in the right direction to kind of recognize the roles and responsibilities of fathers in the caregiving of their newborn children.
4 weeks. Oh, just 1 month.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's better than 10 days. Let's say that.
Better than 10 days, yeah.
It is. You have actually looked at parental leave in Africa and have published a detailed report about it. What can you tell us about parental leave on the continent?
Like with most jurisdictions worldwide, maternity leave is a well-established practice and enshrined in many legislative conventions across the continent. Yes, there is a bit of a range, as short as 60 days in some countries to 12 to 14 weeks in others. On the other side of things, the paternity leave element of it, we're still some way behind. And I say that because only 32 out of the 54 countries in Africa do fathers actually have the right to paternity leave. So I'm looking at countries like Burundi, Cote d'Ivoire, Ethiopia, Tunisia, really a range across the continent. But the average duration of that paternity leave amongst those countries that offer it is relatively short. It's only 4 days. In some instances, as few as 1 day. Encouragingly, though, since 2011, we've seen 9 countries across Africa either introduce for the first time or increase the duration of paternity leave. And then we're talking about places like Angola, Equatorial Guinea, and Gambia. So it appears there's a recognition of the need for paternity leave, still somewhat short of what is offered on the maternity side, but definitely a step in the right direction.
Yeah, we just spoke with Stembiso Pakati, who is the founder of the Single Dads Network based in South Africa. Yes. And he spoke about how millennial dads in particular are determined to be more present for their children. I'm sure they would be so shocked at the fact that in some African countries, paternity leave is as short as 4 days or 1 day.
It is shocking, but to kind of support that is that in 40% of the countries, there's no paternity leave. As a starting point, we've seen more and more of the younger demographic really expressing an interest in taking this maternity leave and allowing them to bond with their children. Hopefully that will encourage governments across the board to increase and in some instances implement for the first time actual paternity leave.
Why do you think, Mark, that so many African countries still do not offer paternity leave?
Perhaps historically, cultural norms have often kind of designated childcare as primarily the mother's responsibility. Legal frameworks and labor policies haven't always consistently incorporated gender equality in caregiving, So there has been perhaps an historical element to this. And that's why with the changes that come through, it's the younger generation that's often driving this. But also, I think governments and employers will probably cite, financial and operational constraints as barriers to actually implementing equitable paternity leave across the continent.
Let's talk money now, Mark, because when we talk parental leave, we're thinking taking time off work to take care of the child. But how about salary, right? Are the parents fairly paid across the different regions on the continent?
Yeah, there are a variety of options that countries have essentially chosen. So in some countries, I'm talking about Namibia and Kenya, Ethiopia, you're looking at full pay. Others perhaps only offer partial pay, maybe 50% of the salary, which as a new parent, you would understand, it's a time of kind of financial stress and you would hope that we could maybe match that salary as a whole. There are other countries where unfortunately it is unpaid.
So do you think South Africa's new ruling on equal parental leave could inspire change in other African countries?
South Africa has a well-established and robust judiciary and an internationally recognized constitution. So it does carry some gravitas when, making decisions that get handed down from the Constitutional Court. And they have been cited in various countries across Africa. Although it's not precedent, it does provide some kind of sway to those decisions that get made. And hopefully we'll see that roll out across, maybe initially Southern Africa and then into East and West and North.
Okay, we'll be keeping an eye on that to see how it goes. Thank you very much.
It was lovely talking to you.
Mark du Preez in Mauritius. This is Focus on Africa from the BBC World Service.